I think sometimes it's easy to say like, well, but, and try to kind of like justify or find some loophole that makes it okay. But today we wanted to discuss something that I think is pretty hot right now in terms of a topic, and that is
I want to slap him in his face.
I did not know that. That's what it used to be. But what I'm referring to is this whole agenda and push, especially by entertainment companies.
Powerful
entertainment companies. Some might say the most powerful entertainment company. You know, the happiest place on hell on earth, and just the ever so not so subtle agenda that continues to come out in the programming, and just being careful about what we expose our kids to, and basically making sure that we unplug indoctrination from our kids' lives. This recently in the news and Twitter and everything, you know, there's been a bill that was passed in Florida trying to protect, you know, kids from a certain age from being taught age appropriate information in terms of sex and stuff like that, which, you know, I think was good. First of all, I don't think it's the school's job anyway to be teaching kids about that. It's the parents' job. But definitely, you know, should the school talk about it, it should be to an age appropriate level. Because of that, the House of Mouse was definitely very anti this bill, and they always want to appease this demographic. Because of that, they, you know, said they opposed the bill, and some videos came to light where some of the higher ups were discussing how they want to start cramming more transgender and more LGBTQA plus hyphen whatever else into their programming. And that got me really thinking as a parent, because, you know, I grew up loving the content. I grew up always wanting to go to the parks.
We were pass holders.
Yeah, and all that stuff, you know, and you know, wanting, you know, I would always say, I can't wait till, you know, my sons are big enough and I can watch these movies with them, and I can't wait till my daughter, you know, so I can watch certain movies with her. You know, I've enjoyed those things. I definitely have to stand back now and say, like, but at what cost? And am I willing to pay that cost? Recently, there was a movie made where, you know, this girl, I guess, I didn't see the movie, I just read stuff on it, where the girl would turn into, I think, a panda or something when she would get super angry. But within the movie, based on the review I read and friends that I have talked to, within the movie, there was a lot of basically subtle and not so subtle inferences of transgenderism and different things like that. Like, I know at one point the girl said, "My panda, my choice," or something like that, which is akin to "my body, my choice." And, you know, again, that's an agenda. That is this company definitely trying to force down the whole pro-choice movement down our kids' throats. And, you know, to a young impressionable mind, they grow up hearing that, then that becomes their way of thinking. That, along with, you know, the Disney higher ups saying what they said, that they were caught on camera and different things like that, it really leads me to consider, like, what kind of things do I want to allow in my house, and for the sake of what? Like, I love Star Wars, I love this, I love that, but but do I love it at the expense of my kids possibly being swayed in one way or another? No, I don't. It's one of those things that I think sometimes it's easy to say, like, well, but, and try to kind of like justify or find some loophole that makes it okay. But really, at the end of the day, I can't be okay with a company or an organization that is diametrically opposed to my worldview, you know. And it's not that I want them to be with my worldview. Can you just be neutral? Because I'm not trying to say that they have to be pro. I mean, I would love it if they were pro Christ and pro God, but, like, I'm not saying they have to be that either. But I just don't want them ramming ideologies and agendas down my kids' throats. You know, I want to have those conversations with my kids from our worldview point, from our beliefs. You know, not have those things be forced upon me because this company thinks that it's somehow their duty to discuss these things or to infiltrate these things into my children's minds. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's really disheartening because anything with entertainment, it is just that, it's entertainment. There are some things that are considered what's called education, where you are being educated and entertained at the same time, but that's not what we go to Disney for. We have the subscription for leisure, maybe a family night movie or cartoon. And it puts us in this position to where we feel compromised in our parenting and our worldviews when we allow for our family. It's like we're just telling our family that this is okay. And it's disheartening because at a very young age, without us saying anything to our children at all, for instance, my daughter, they're very impressionable. And my daughter, she recently said she wants to wear makeup because she wants to be beautiful. And I had to communicate, your beauty is number one in Christ and in your identity in Christ. It has nothing to do with how you look, right? But
keep in mind, she's 3.
She's 3 years old. This was not something that I had we communicate, you're beautiful, right? We love you. You're so pretty, or that looks pretty on you. But with no outside influence, that's something that she came up with on her own. And so it's concerning that when you have content that is designed to trigger emotions in such a way, like what the upper management or CEOs of a company like Disney want to do, it's very alarming. And I do believe that God has instilled in us the conscience and the convictions for it to be a red flag, that we have to heed that you don't just walk away from that red flag and saying, oh, but God, you know the world we're living in, and we just need to accept it.
The reason we're bringing it up is because I think a lot of parents, sometimes they're oblivious or ignorant or whatever the word may be, and they think, oh, it's Disney. It's Disney. No problem. It should be fine.
It's not what we were raised on.
Or oh, it's just that. Like, that shouldn't be an issue. But it's like, we need to be cognizant and aware of these things because it is being done this way. It's tough because, like it affects my kids. It affects me. I go watch every Marvel movie. I go watch every, Star Wars movie. That's always been me.